All right, everybody. I hope everybody's doing well. This is Javier here, and I'm coming to you live. Today, I wanted to talk a little bit about dreams that I had last night. And it goes down to a saying one time, not one time, I've been saying this since for many, many, many years already, that if you don't write down or record your dreams, they disappear forever. Forever. That's just a fact. Because, if you don't write down or record your dreams and you forget them, you may never remember them again. Because at the end of the day, you are the only person in this whole world, you are the only person that can actually remember your own dreams. I wanted to talk to you about some deep dreams that I had last night. And I wanted to share some deep thoughts and reflections about those dreams. Last night, I had 3 dreams last night. 3 dreams last night. I'm trying to remember the third one a little bit. The third one had to do with an airplane. But the one I want to talk about, 2 of them that I remember very distinctly. Maybe I can talk a little bit about the other one, but that one I remember a little less. I think I was about to go on a flight or something, but that was the third one. I don't know. But the first 2 I remember very distinctly. So we were going to, so for some reason I was in this setting, okay? I want to talk about the first one. The first one's about Nephalyn, fallen angels, aliens, whatever, all this stuff that is about to hoax the world, I believe. The first one I wanted to talk about is the second one has to do with meeting Tucker Carlson. That's another one, but these are very weird ones. Okay, let's start with the first one. The first one I wanted to talk about was I was in this setting, okay, and I don't really know where I was. It was weird. I just remember the dream began and I was in a car. And we were going somewhere. I don't even know, I guess. I don't know why. It may have been Tennessee or something. I don't know. Maybe it was Tennessee. But I was in a car and we were headed to this wedding. Okay, this wedding. And then I remember this wedding was a wedding between 2 kids. Yeah, it was weird. This is weird. And we're talking about, these were underage kids. Maybe they were 13 at most. Some maybe even younger. They were 13, a boy and a girl. And this girl apparently was part of the family that we were going to see this wedding of. Okay? This is weird as heck. And there was something off about the boy. This boy was off. He was off in a way. Okay? There was something off about him. But this girl was part of a family that was kind of I guess integrated into our family or something like that. I don't know. And what I mean by that is I remember because I think this may be giving me flashbacks from when I was in Nashville, when I was in Tennessee for about 2.5 weeks. And I got to know, and when I was in Nashville, this is real life, just briefly touching on real life. I got to know this other family with this beautiful lady named Trish, who basically adopted me into their family, and it was actually really, really nice. We went to their house and events every once in a while. Beautiful people. But I think that my brain was kind of mixing that into a setting or something, where it's we were going to this family and this girl who had no blood or biological relation to me was getting married underage to this boy who seemed very off. And I remember we got there, we saw the wedding. It appeared normal at first. We saw the wedding, saw them get married, saw them walk off, etc., etc. But then this thing came out of the sky. And we knew there was something off about this boy, okay? But this thing came out of the sky. It was a giant spaceship. It was a spaceship. And it landed right in our backyard. It was huge. It was this giant cylinder thing that landed right in our backyard, and it came from the sky. It came from space or something like that. And it was coming for this boy, okay? It was coming for this boy. And then this boy ended up boarding this spaceship. And then I think it ended up taking off with him or something like that. It ended up taking off with him. And then I think we saw him again later in the dream, but he didn't look like himself. He looked like this creature, this being from another planet. or from some other dimension or whatever. He looked kind of interdimensional. I remember in the dream I was like, these things on Earth can't physically fly here. This cylinder, this giant metal cylinder that just came out of the sky. The laws of physics won't let that thing float. And that's what it was doing. It floated, and it seemed like it came from the sky or something like that. And it picked up this boy and left. And then we saw the boy later in the dream. He came off, and he looked like he was from another planet. He did. And then later in the dream, it was found out that this girl who we went to this wedding of was interbreeding or having sex or whatever with this boy. And bear in mind, they were underage. Again, they were underage. They were like having sex together or something like that. And that's the case. You know, it's like it was weird. And then I heard the word Nephalyn. And I remember like somebody told me that Nephalyn are people who interbreed with fallen angels, and I heard that word just come out of nowhere. And Nephalyn. And basically what was going on is this girl was interbreeding with this being from another planet, like this being that came from interdimensional or from another planet, or this boy was probably some kind of like fallen angel or something, but she was interbreeding with this alien being this whole time. And then I just heard the word Nephalyn, and I remember like the definition of Nephalyn, like the people that interbreeded with fallen angels or all that, but it's like this boy was like an alien figure and this girl was like normal, but they were like interbreeding together, and that was like the dream ended. That was the first dream. And I don't know what to make of that. It's like, you know, it's like there's all this stuff about like, you know, the aliens are returning or UFOs are returning or whatever, you know. But the second dream I had, I think this took place in Florida. Though I don't even know where it took place. Maybe it didn't take place in Florida. I don't know. Maybe Virginia. I don't know where this took place. But I was working at a supermarket, because I used to work at supermarkets. Long, sad story in regard to that, but I used to work at supermarkets. And I remember I was like helping bag groceries or something like that. And then like an announcement came on saying everybody needs to go home. It's time for everybody to go home. And then it doesn't matter if they were in the middle of the line. It doesn't matter if there were lines. It doesn't matter if there were customers in line or whatever. Everybody needed to go. And it was kind of like it all took place at night. Okay, so it was kind of like an apocalyptic scene in a kind of a sense of a word and kind of a way. It seemed like an apocalyptic scene. And after that, it was like, what was I going to say? It was like we all had to leave the store. And I remember, I don't know, this is kind of like a blend from like other dreams I've had. Like one dream I had about walking around Las Vegas or something like that. But I remember that these kids, I don't know why kids keep popping up in my dreams, were like inviting me to their home. And then after that, they changed their mind and they like shut the door on me and they don't want me there. And then this other person was inviting me to his home, but then something else happened. And then he says, you know what? I'm going to take you to stay with Tucker Carlson. Oh, okay, this is getting weird. And I was like, what? And I was like, oh, this is going to get interesting. So he says, I'm going to take you to Tucker Carlson's house. I don't know. I don't even know. Dreams are weird. But in that dream, it felt real. Like a lot of my dreams just felt real. But it was a dream. Obviously, it was a dream. And I was like, okay, this is going to get interesting. And then like the dream kind of ended. I never actually saw Tucker Carlson in the dream, but he was driving me to Tucker Carlson's house. And in the middle of the night, he was driving me to Tucker Carlson's house so I can stay with Tucker Carlson. And and then that dream ended. That's it. That's where that dream ended. And then the third dream I had, if I'm trying to remember this correctly, was like I was about to board a really long flight, and we were like getting ready to packing all the things, about to go to the airport. And we were both, the dream didn't even tell me where this flight was going. This flight was going somewhere foreign, some other country. And that's what I remember about it. Like, we were like, oh, there's a lot of the drama of packing and getting ready, and then about to go to the airport and all that stuff. Another dream I remember having is that we were walking around Las Vegas, Nevada. We were just walking around Las Vegas in the middle of the night, and there was all kinds of things going on. I wanted to talk about this too. Like, my dad was staying at a casino hotel, and I remember I was like, it was a little bit weird. My dad was staying at like a casino hotel, and I had to go stay with him, but then I had to walk the whole strip, and then I was staying in different places, and I was like trying to, and I had my own place in Vegas, and then my dad had his own place in Vegas at some fancy casino, and I remember having to walk the whole thing in the middle of the night, like over and over and over again. And that's how that dream ended. That's like, okay, so the two dreams that stuck out to me were about the one about the Nephalyn, because I know that that's like kind of like an end times thing or whatever. And then the other thing, it's like in regards to, well, granted, that first dream took place in daylight, but this dream, the second one, took place at night. And he was like, I'm going to take you to stay with Tucker Carlson. First of all, it's like, you look at what's going on in this dream, and it's like it's a dark setting, an apocalyptic setting. Everybody's being told to go. Maybe there was like a bomb raid or something. I don't know. I'm just making it up. The dream never made that clear. But, and then like, I don't know why just these kids wanted me to stay with them. Then they slammed the door on me. Then this other guy wanted me to stay with them. And then he was like, oh, I'm going to take you to Tucker Carlson's house. And it's just like, and I'm trying to put two and two together, because like, first of all, an apocalyptic setting, and the other one about fallen angels and aliens. And we already know that like the big end time deception, like, in Christianity, will have to do with fallen angels, will have to do with like aliens claiming to be real when in fact they're fallen angels and all that stuff. And that's what I believe, it's like aliens, fallen angels, and we already know that from the Book of Enoch that like they interbreed with human beings and all that stuff, and the fallen angels tend to interbreed with human beings and all that stuff, and that's what it was. That's just what it was. But at the same time, it's just like that's what it was, and it's just like maybe it's just a forecast of the future, or maybe it's a forecast of what might be coming, or what might be coming in the future, or what might be projected to come in the end times. Like, for example, if you've seen that movie, Disclosure Day, maybe it was like a projection of that. Maybe it's a projection of hearing so many people in the Christian world saying that, that aliens and fallen angels and Nephalyn are going to be a sign of the times, and people are going to be interbreeding with fallen angels again, and all that stuff. And that's what was happening in that first dream. That's what was happening in the first dream. And then the second dream was very unclear about all the mysteries of that dream, of all the darkness and all that stuff. But the whole idea of going to stay with Tucker Carlson, a guy who I heavily, heavily, heavily do not like, that's my view, is something that, as a person who is a very, very open-minded individual like myself, I would very much be open to it. Honestly, I would. I'm not joking about that. I would, because of the state of my mind, because of the way that my mind is built, because I'm the one that would be okay with talking to controversial figures and learning about what they think and trying to dig deeper into what they think, rather than just sitting and listening to him on a podcast and agreeing with all the right-wing stuff that he spews out. I would actually be open to talking with him actually in real life. I would like to do that. I would like to sit down one-on-one with him and try to understand where he's coming from in a lot of this. Because I will grant that he does seem like an individual who is constantly interviewing people and trying to learn, which I respect. I respect that. But at the same time, he is a big promoter of all these right-wing conspiracy theories and hate and all this stuff, But all this, all this right-wing stuff that he just propagandizes to so many minds out there who listen to him on a constant basis, and who don't think critically, who don't think for themselves, who don't look at things with discernment that he's saying. But I personally would love to be open to talking with him, like just to be open to talking with him and to actually getting to know where he was coming from. And I think we would have a pretty good discussion. I'm not going to lie. I think we would have a pretty good discussion. And likewise, I said in the past, I would have been open to talking to Charlie Kirk. Obviously, that is not possible anymore. He has passed on. But I would have been open to having these discussions with these people, I would be open to having a discussion with Tucker Carlson. I would be open to, trying to dig deep into what he has to say, or why he believes the things he believes, or this or that. And generally with people like this, like knowing myself, even with people on the opposite side of the political spectrum, I'm on the left, leaning on the left, and somebody on the right, I have had, when we can actually sit down one-on-one and actually have intelligent conversations, they usually turn out very good. Because that's the kind of person that I am. I'm a person that likes to sit down one-on-one with people and have intelligent conversations with them. It doesn't matter if they're right or left. It doesn't matter if they're to the left of me or to the right of me. It doesn't matter who they are. But that's the thing. It's just I want to do that, but I'm not in the position where I want to do that, and I would be open to doing that. I really would. I enjoy intelligent conversations. What I don't enjoy is screaming and rhetoric and all that stuff, coming from the left or the right. I don't enjoy that. I enjoy sitting down with someone with an open mind and actually hashing out the things that they believe. Politically speaking, I know that there's a lot of people with closed minds who believe this way or the highway, that way or the highway, especially, And I'm not really a fan of that, But it's at the end of the day, I know what I believe. I know what this world is about. I know what people are about. And I know that people are just I enjoy talking with people who have an open mind. I do. I enjoy having intelligent conversations, intelligent one-on-one conversations with people. And I think that maybe if I don't know, there's something coming in the future or whatever, but I enjoy it, and I enjoy talking. And that's these two separate topics. The apocalyptic side, Nephalyn, all that stuff, that's probably coming in the future. Christianity related, whatever, Great Deception, all that stuff. But I enjoy talking one-on-one, open-mindedly with people. And I would be open to having a conversation with Tucker. I really would. I would be open to having that intelligent conversation. Despite all the things I say about him, I don't like him. But again, I haven't got to know him personally. So, I don't know. Personally, one-on-one. And I don't know if I will ever get the chance to. Maybe I will. I don't know what the future holds. But anyway, just some thoughts. Xavier here. Do some reflecting. I know these are my dreams, but I'm going to go ahead and ask this. Do some reflecting on my dreams. Because, at the end of the day, these dreams may mean something. And I'm curious to know what you guys might think. Anyways, thanks a lot. Xavier here. Tuning out.